scrub mode.
Ooh, spooky.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Oh, Ryan, you booed me.
Yeah. In a scary way. Not in like a demeaning, like I didn't enjoy your performance.
It's Halloween. Yay. I'm super jazzed about it.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you're getting lots of candy. Hope your community's coming together and harassing you for candy.
Yeah,
yes.
It's specifically for candy and nothing else.
Yeah.
That's the best way to address it.
Yeah.
All right, and that's because it's the Halloween episode. We're saying, hey, D&D stuff. We're saying, hey, critical thinking. Please leave the room. We're just here to get spooked.
We're here
to talk about.
We got some scary stories.
We got some scary stories.
I'm so scared.
Whoa!
We haven't even started. All right.
Hear that? That's his knees shaking.
That is.
I love getting scared. I really do.
Yeah.
We'll see if this one does it for you.
Sweet.
So, like, you guys know about, like, there's this weird subgenre in true paranormal stuff, where it started with the Fleshgate Ranch. You know what I'm talking about? Meat Pedestrian Ranch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Yeah. It's a really scary one.
Yeah.
Supposedly, where scary stuff happens.
Yeah, they all follow this pattern.
Pedestrians.
Meat pedestrians. They all follow this sort of pattern where it's like on this one ranch, and they're always ranches for some goddamn reason. All the spooky things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that's the big one, but just as old and almost as famous, and almost no one has talked about this one. It's all in 7 APRO bulletins. Is the Rocky Mountain Ranch, which is.
Ooh.
And again, we're sending skepticism out of the room.
Is this in Appalachia?
No, this is in Colorado. This is in the Rocky Mountains.
No, this is in the
Appalachians.
Rockies.
Oh,
Appalachians is, I think, the correct way to say it.
Appalachians?
Hey,
I've always heard it pronounced Appalachian.
I've always heard it pronounced Appalachians, but I've heard from people who live there that Appalachian is more correct. But look, we've never been good at pronouncing shit, okay?
What's another place that's similar to that? Where it's all like, like you call them like Nebraskans, but they're Nebraskans.
Oh my god.
Or like New Orleans and Nolans.
Nolans.
I remember there was a state that was like that, where it's all like outside people call them this, but inside like they call themselves
Is it
that.
Illinois?
No, it's
that French ending's gonna fuck shit
No,
up.
I think I know what it is. It's gonna come to me. Anyway.
We'll get to it.
I'll be like right about to tell you the spookiest fact, and you'll be like, Chicago.
Chicagans.
Okay.
Chicago.
So yes, we're sending critical thinking out of the room, but the article begins like this. APRO is like one of those old time new alien UFO reporting things. The only one that survives right now is MUFON, and MUFON kind of sucks. But this is the one founded by J. Allen Hynek, so this one was pretty dope.
Okay.
Okay.
This report is unusual in several ways. No names, individuals associated with the experiences are given, and no information is given about the location of the area. The individuals describing the events have not subjected themselves to polygraph examinations, personality inventories, or other methods of personal assessment, which is to say, there's no proof for any of this. These people could all be lying. I haven't even checked.
Yeah, it could be a Reddit post.
It's basically a Reddit post. All right?
But then saying it the other way makes it more mysterious.
Yes. So I'm going to give you a quick cast of characters, because otherwise we have to keep explaining who these people are. Okay, so we got Jim. He is the business partner. We got John. He owns the ranch and is married to Barbara, who also owns the ranch.
Okay.
John and Barbara have 3 kids, the oldest of which is named Joe. And then they got a buddy named Roger, who's a photographer. They got a neighbor named Connie, and then they have a friend who's a California forest ranger named Dave.
Okay.
And then there's a bunch of other characters, but I'm going to try to keep it simple. Anyway. So Jim, John, and Barbara were like, you know what sounds good? Raising cattle.
Sounds like a good idea.
Let's go buy a cattle ranch.
Okay.
And so they found a ranch, and Julio probably better than anybody else at this exact moment. You know that land is expensive.
Yeah.
And ranches need a lot of land.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Correct.
A lot of land.
So they were having a little bit of trouble. finding a place to set up their ranch. But then they're like, oh, look, there's a ready-made ranch right here. It's got everything we need.
Mm-hmm.
All right? It's got tons of grazing room. It's got a spring-fed pond. It's got some woods. It's already got a couple of like ranch houses and a barn. It's got everything we need.
A spring-fed pond?
Yeah. Doesn't that sound delightful?
Nice.
That sounds like quite a commodity.
Yeah. If I were a cow, that's where I'd want to get my water from.
Yeah, or even as a
fresh
human.
spring
Yeah.
water. It's like having an arrowhead water fountain in your home.
It really is.
So they were interested, but things were weird from the get-go because despite the ranch being great, apparently it had been abandoned for years, and the real estate agent couldn't really tell Jim and John and Barbara why it had been abandoned.
Yeah, it seems so
I could only
suspiciously
guess.
nice.
And then this sentence doesn't make sense to me no matter how many times I read it, but here you go. Apparently, there was a quote-unquote unspoken mystery surrounding a building which had disappeared more than a decade earlier.
A building just fucking disappeared.
That's what they said.
So there was a building there.
How big was
and
this
then it just
building?
gone.
There's no other information. I literally read you
building.
the only quote on it in all 7 of the Afro bulletins.
It'd be funny if it were like the outhouse that just like one day the
Yeah.
outhouse like disappeared.
The aliens took
Just
the outhouse.
blew up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just zapped out of existence.
Yeah.
So the first like actual spooky thing that goes on is there's a weird humming sound that they occasionally heard in the house. And they looked everywhere for the source of this loud mechanical humming sound, and they could not find it.
It was in
Initially-
the house specifically.
Yeah, it was in the house. You could hear it while you were in the house.
Interesting.
Okay. I don't like that.
So at first they thought that this was like they had fucked up the wiring because they had to have the whole place rewired, and they did it themselves. But they went down to the basement and stuff like that, turned off the breaker, turned off all the electricity. The hum was still happening.
Okay, that's
Ew.
spooky.
Yeah.
Don't like that. Yeah.
And to make things a little spookier, it was loudest during a windstorm.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, spoiler, also right before weird shit started happening.
Okay.
Most especially, well, we'll get to it.
Mhm.
So for some reason, Jim thinks that the humming was connected to the coal mines that allegedly existed on this property.
Coal mines.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, they got like tunnels running underneath the house?
Yeah, so he never could find any evidence of that, but that was just like how he rationalized it. He thought there was like some kind of pump that like was made to like pump water out of the coal mine somewhere underneath his house.
Huh.
I couldn't find any evidence like there's coal mine in the Rocky Mountains, but like I don't know, just a weird thing where he's like, I thought it was normal and mechanical. I was clinging for an explanation for something normal.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to rationalize it.
And then to make things worse, there started to also be, classic little spooky poltergeist noises during the night.
Okay.
People would be alone in the ranch house and they'd hear footsteps outside of their doors,
Classic.
as if there was somebody invisible walking around.
Yeah, we hate those.
Yeah, we don't like those. And at times, someone seemed to open the door and then, quote unquote, beat upon the walls of the house or slap the side of the house and run away.
Interesting.
And they could like hear the footsteps.
Bigfoot.
Oh,
Like
put a pin in
Bigfoot
that.
would
Put a pin in that, my bud.
Oh no, Bigfoot makes an appearance. A guest star.
Oh yeah, this is a spooky ranch. We have fucking everything.
do. Oh man.
I'm ready.
So like in October of that year, which is like 1976, Jim, or 1975, Jim started to notice that the cattle were braying very loudly one night, and he was like, well, that's not good. Maybe someone's rustling them. Maybe
Yeah.
some wolves are at him. So he grabs his gun and he goes outside.
Okay.
So they had a
Man of
large
action.
yeah. They had a large doggy that was for like protecting cows and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And he says that dog had previously like chased off mountain lions and stuff.
Oh, dope.
Oh, sorry, go for it.
Oh no, I just said dope.
Yeah, but
good boy.
this, yeah, good boy. We love dogs. This night, when Jim stepped out onto the porch, the dog was like trying to get inside the house, and it was shaking and trembling and crying.
Ooh.
Oh.
So he was like, so whatever it is scarier than a mountain lion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dog's like, I'll deal with mountain lions, but that,
Yeah. Look, man, you're going to need to get me some wet food if you want me to.
You can't just keep feeding me that kibbles, man. Like, if you want me to put in some extra work on this thing, gotta be wet food. Or gravy, at least.
Yeah. Anyway, so Jim left the dog behind with his gun in hand and followed the sounds of the braying to a dam on the edge of the property. And, like, maybe if you're a cow person, this is spooky. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. He was like, well, the herd was packed really tightly together. Which, like, normally they don't do that. They're cows, they spread out. And I think the implication was, like, when there's a wolf or something, cows, like, group up, put their horns out.
Yeah, protect themselves.
Try to protect themselves. So, like, whatever was going on here was, like, really spooking them. But he doesn't elaborate on that. And, like, the horror... Hearing that the herd was so clumped up, Jim had trouble walking past them. Doesn't do anything for me as a not cow guy.
Yeah.
As somebody with no farm sense.
Yeah.
I am not cow savvy.
Yeah. Anyway, so he walked about halfway to the dam, and then above it he saw a large lighted trapezoidal object.
Whoa.
He said it looked sort of like the top of the light part of a lighthouse, and it was flashing orange.
Ooh. The return of orange.
Yep. So he was like, I don't know what the fuck this UFO is, this thing that's flying right over my dam and scaring my cows. I'm gonna go fuck with it.
Yeah.
But pretty quickly he was like, okay, if this thing is scaring the dog and this thing is scaring the cattle, I don't think me and my little shotgun are gonna be able to mess with it.
Possibly.
So what do you get?
What do you do?
You had to have done something, right?
He said, quote, he realized that the cattle were upset, the dog was upset, and whatever it was, I need to know. So he just fucked off back on. Which, like, extremely sensible, right? This is not...
Yes, that makes
honestly,
sense, yeah.
like, the best action you could take if you didn't want to
like
die.
walking outside, seeing a biblically accurate angel, and
Yes.
just being like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Look, I got work tomorrow morning.
It's like going outside ready to fight and then, like, seeing Godzilla, and you're just like, well, I should probably evacuate.
I'm out of my league.
Yeah. Not what I'm here for.
So, like, this was the 70s, so, like, cattle mutilations had recently become an in vogue thing, and he's like, maybe this thing is going to mutilate me or my cattle. I'm 100% not going to fuck with it now.
Mm-hmm.
Then, you know what? My cows can show up as piles of meat, not me.
Yeah.
I kind of like my meat on the inside.
So he says afterwards, everything seemed fine for the rest of that night, but there were many nights after that where the dog refused to go outside.
That sucks.
And sometimes those nights did align with mutilations.
Oh, no.
We haven't really talked about this much on Scrub Mode yet, but it's like,
Yeah.
you guys know what that is. Sometimes cows be missing parts.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes
from what I
they're
hear,
just-
the logical explanation is that it's just decay. It's just regular decay, right? People would find a cow supposedly mutilated, but it was just killed by coyotes.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
sort of
just
that
whatever
thing
up
too,
there.
where it's like, like, again, we're sending critical thinking out of the room, but it's like, people are like, it's so weird that the eyes and the asshole are gone. Who would just take the eyes and the asshole? And it's like, well, guess who loves soft parts? Like eyes and assholes? Coyotes. Buzzards. I'm not an expert in this, but like the rejoinder is like, well, these people know cows and how cows die. How would they get that confused? And the opposite of that is like, this seems to happen a lot. Like, people just don't really understand. Taphonomy is the science word for it, which is like how shit decays. We just don't. Especially in America, we just don't really see it.
I see.
That's true. We don't really see a lot of it.
But we're spooky time now, so it's spooky.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dead
So-
cow.
So a little while later, Joe, the oldest kid, had some friends from Denver come visit, and while they were just 200 yards from the house, in the woods, in the snow, they found a mutilated dead cow.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Jim says the udders and the rectum were quote-unquote surgically removed.
Ooh, surgically. Okay.
Yep. That's the thing you hear a lot in cattle mutilation. Again, like
Yeah.
I don't know how you can tell the difference between surgical removal and just something that's been eaten away by microorganisms perfectly.
Yeah.
And mutilated.
But yeah, spooky time, spooky time.
Yeah.
So he says an eye and an ear were also missing, and the creepiest part was like, despite this thing being torn the fuck up, there was no blood in the snow. So the Joe and his 16-year-old buddies sprinted home, certain that something was following them.
Okay.
Jim,
I mean, hey, if I was 16 and I came across organs,
yeah, and like there's 600 yards from the house. They're not even very far, but it's like
no,
it's spooky. It's you know.
but it's still somewhere I'd rather not be.
Yeah. So like Joe was like, "Dad, something chased us through the woods," and Jim was like, "Okay, you got spooked out. You saw a mutilation. It's spooky. I'm spooked. Nothing was chasing you guys. It's 9 a.m."
Yeah, you guys are fine. Now I saw a floating trapezoid.
Yeah.
That
Saw a
shit,
biblically accurate angel.
that shit is no good. That's when you turn around and go home. Mutilated cow at 9 in the morning, horrible. But you shouldn't freak out.
So
And then he
Jim,
patted him on the back, and he was just like, and that's just one of the mysteries of growing up as a man.
aren't you glad we became ranchers, son?
Yeah. Aren't you glad that we're here to protect these thousands of square feet of land?
Yeah. So yeah, so
These acres.
yeah, I wish there was a report of how big the ranch was, but again, it's been deliberately left off so they can't be identified. Anyway,
see.
so Jim goes out to be like, well, I better, each cow is worth, I don't know at the time, but nowadays, each cow can be worth millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, oh yeah, so
I
each,
mean-
each cow loss fucking is a huge ding to your profit.
It's a.
I
yeah.
bet. Yeah. That's a lot of burgers.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a lot of
Lot of
burgers,
milk.
it's a lot of milk.
just a lot of general, like, food product.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so he went outside to go check on the cow, and lo and behold, in the newly fallen snow, and even in the manure inside the horse barn, which implies that this thing like jumped the horse paddock and ran through the barn after the kids.
Yeah.
There were big footprints there. There were 18-inch long footprints by Jim's reckoning.
Okay.
So it looks like something really did chase them kids.
Well, perhaps it was Bigfoot.
Yeah. So Jim calls the cops and he's like, "Hey, I got big feet. I got a mutilated cow. This is millions of dollars of property loss. Come check it out." And the cops, Jim is really upset about this in the story, but this just sounds like small town cops to me. Where Jim's like, "Hey, cops, come out and check this stuff out," and the cops are like, "Well, it's Sunday. We can't make it out there till Wednesday. We'll come check it out on Wednesday."
Yeah,
And
that just
Jim's
sounds
like, "You
regular
lazy pieces of crap, blah, 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 blah. I couldn't believe it." And the article makes it sound like this is very spooky, but I think this is just how snow works. As he says, by Monday, the footprints were gone, which between melting and thawing and more snow, I don't think that's that weird.
And more snowy.
Yeah.
That's a normal thing.
Also, the cop never showed, so Jim was really mad.
Honestly, I thought the cops would be like, big feet, mutilated cows, please. That's every Tuesday.
I mean, they are eventually like, "Look, bud, we want me to do about a UFO, okay?"
Yeah.
This happens
You
all
can't
the
check up
time.
on every Bigfoot
Wait, what, we
mutilated
get
cow
arrested?
UFO sighting.
Yeah. Hey, you had the same experience. You went out there, you saw a trapezoid, and you were like, "What am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do?"
Like, if you think you couldn't do anything, what makes you think we could have done anything?
Listen, I'm a cop in the middle of nowhere, pre the what was it, the NoHo shooting?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, we don't have
yeah.
big guns. What do you want me to do about a UFO?
Yeah, the most I have is my winter jacket.
It's a
a nice
6-shooter and
hat.
a flashlight. Yeah, like, what am I?
Yeah. You want me to go out there, go, who's there? And then get fucking cut in half by Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Not me, sir.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Ooh. It's always
So
that.
2 weeks later, Roger, who is their buddy, who's a photographer, and then their other buddy, who's a ranger, Dave from California, came to visit. And while they were walking around the property, they found another mutilated cow.
Well, damn.
This one's actually
Wonderful.
very weird because Jim doesn't say exactly what was done to the cow, but he notes that it wasn't actually a cow, it was a bull, and it was not a bull that they owned.
Ooh. What?
That's,
So somebody else's bull, and bulls are worth a lot of money. I mean, not to be blue, but bulls are worth a lot of money because in addition to meat, you can use bulls to make more cows.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it is.
So, like, it obviously also looks really bad if somebody else's bull shows up on your property dead. It looks like you tried to steal that bull.
It does.
You didn't do nothing to this bull.
Yeah. So the rest of the story sort of devolves into Jim suspecting the cops of a conspiracy and being mad at them, and then the stuff we told you earlier where the cops are like, look, bud, what do you want me to do? I should have said this earlier. We've said this in other Cursed Ranch episodes that never made it to air, but like all these ranch stories, it's going to escalate up to a certain point, and then the story's just going to end. Like there's never a good act 3 to these stories.
It hits act 2,
Yeah.
hits climax, and then there's no downturn.
There's no downturn. It's just that people are like, I guess fuck this. This is a little creepy.
Exactly. It just cliffside falls off the face of the earth. Everyone just leaves it alone because it's like, well, we can't do anything about it. There's humming in the basement. There's fucking cows getting mutilated. There's a trapezoid somewhere above my dam.
Yeah. Okay, so sometime later, Roger, that's the photographer, asked if he could bring a buddy to check stuff out. And so they were like, yeah, sure. So Roger, some unnamed buddy of his, and then like a ranch employee named Steve are all hanging out by a log cabin on the property. It's about 10 p.m. at night, and they hear an odd sound.
Uh-oh.
It seemed to be coming from a cistern about 60 yards uphill from the little log cabin. So all of a sudden, after listening to whatever this like shambling walking noise was, getting closer and closer in the dark in the woods, a huge dark object pushed its way through the brush, like dragging the barbed wire fences behind it, and everyone was just like, fuck that, and ran inside.
Whoa.
Again, reasonable thoughts.
Very reasonable.
Yeah.
So they're like, Jim, some giant, horrible, hairy thing was running down the hill at us, like the Juggernaut, bitch. Unstoppable. We fled. Go check it out. And so Jim gets his gun. He goes outside. And he does indeed see that someone has ruined all his barbed wire fences on the hill by just like walking through it.
Damn.
Jeez.
There is some fur on the fence, and Jim claims that he snatched it and sent it to somebody for a DNA test. 1970s DNA tests suck. It said no known results. Jim takes that to mean it was a Bigfoot. That's not necessarily what no known results means. Could just be that the test was fucked up.
Yeah.
But
we'll never know.
Something big pushed its way through his barbed wire, and it was Harry.
Yeah,
And
some
we
big
don't know what
motherfucker.
it was.
Yes.
What's funny is that they go back to Jim and be like, Jim, there's something on your land again. Go do something about it. And like even after the trapezoid incident, he's just all like, well, I guess it's just me and my trusty 12 gauge. Like I don't know if it's from like the leftover anger with the police officers and not doing anything, but you got to give Jim some credit being just like, well,
Yeah, he keeps going out there.
yeah, might as well do my best.
So by this time, the vibes were rancid. Everyone was on edge between the poltergeist and the house slapping and the UFOs and the all
And
the
the
shit
Bigfoot.
and the Bigfoot. So tempers were short, and Jim was like sleeping on the couch with a loaded gun by the front door, just
Damn.
waiting to catch whoever was trying to spook him. At the time, he was still pretty sure it was like a Scooby-Doo plot, where he was like, what the realtor does is he shows people this good ranch, he sells it to them for half price, he spooks them off the ranch, they break their contract or something, he pockets the money, and then he gets the next group of people in. Like, he thought it was a real-life Scooby-Doo plot.
I mean, that's 100% plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just needs to set a trap for him.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. But the trap is just him with a shotgun sleeping on the couch.
Not much of a trap. You need to go Fred
Yes.
distance. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta set up like a a
Like rope
cage
traps.
that drops from the ceiling.
You need to dig a hole and put a rug
Yeah,
over
a
it.
So we've talked about this
You
on
need him to ride a skateboard into like the kitchen,
Yeah.
and he gets wrapped baked in like
pie, and he gets
curtains.
baked into a pie, and he didn't. So he had a dog. He had a son. He had bait, Scooby Shaggy style. He could have been using.
Yeah. Oh, let's split up, gang.
So we've talked on the show about my fear of looking outside of a window and seeing like a monster or a spook or just a guy there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that feeling of like sometimes at night I get scared to look at windows just in case there's something there that shouldn't be fucking there.
That shouldn't be there. Yeah.
So
I get that.
It's 2 a.m. and Jim is awoken by a bright light, and he sees that it's 2 a.m. So he's like, "Oh shit, something bad's happening."
It's a trapezoid.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. It's the biblically accurate UFO.
Yeah. So he saw a UFO classic. This was a brightly glowing luminous disc slowly glide from the north across their property right in front of the house and then up into a gully. Just like cruising speed, showing off, no zigzags. Just a weird, amorphous, bright UFO just cruising right on his lawn.
Just chilling.
Just chilling. I hear like
Wanted to show
Annihilation
off.
music when in my head when he describes being woken up and just seeing a fucking huge UFO just like 5 feet off the ground in front of his house.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
So meanwhile, Barbara was sleeping in the bedroom, and she did not see the glow. She did not see the disc, but she was also awoken by the light because it was so bright. Oh, so she wakes up, she sees how bright it is, and she just screams because she knows something fucked is happening.
I bet.
So Jim comes running in and is like, there's a UFO outside, and,
She's like, I kind of guessed.
by the time he gets her out there, it had already gone up the gully, but that's it.
Damn. He's like, honey, you got to see this UFO. And she's like, no. I don't want to go outside. He's
I'm
like, you got to
good.
see it.
You didn't see the trapezoid, you didn't see the Bigfoot. Come
Yeah.
on, honey.
Come on, at least one. You got to... This one's a saucer. You know, those are classics.
This is again like we'll redo Stardust Ranch someday, and we will do Fleshgate Ranch someday. But like the wives in all these stories, like really, their life sucks, dude. The husbands always do such weird shit trying to protect them, or like the entities seem to hate them in particular.
Yeah.
They're like, we gotta target the other one.
Yeah, but this
The other one that doesn't carry the gun.
yeah, maybe that's it. So not to be outspooked by a UFO, Bigfoot comes back now.
Oh shit.
So one night the family heard a door slamming sound.
Uh-huh.
And upon investigation, they found that something had unlocked the trunk of their Cadillac and then slammed it so hard it bent the pin switch.
Ooh.
Oh fuck.
I'm not a car guy. I have no idea what that means.
It's like the lock on the thing
Okay.
that causes it to lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, the APRO article seems to imply that this was nuts, as there's no way for anyone but Jim to unlock the trunk in the first place. So we'd have to like find a way to open the trunk and then slam it so hard it broke.
Also, like, what a dick move.
Oh, it's gonna get so much worse.
What a dick move. I unlocked it and then I fucking broke it.
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of times they would hear not just walking like there's something invisible inside the house, but like something would run up to the house, slap the side of it, or ding dong ditch it, and then run away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the family started like waiting up. And a few times they would see that it was a big hairy humanoid that was doing this. They'd go and check
Classic.
the side of the house that had been banged on, and they'd see a Bigfoot sprinting away. Their Bigfoot drawing.
It's a freaking Bigfoot hazing that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. This is a sketch by the family of the Bigfoot.
Oh, wonderful.
I want you to describe it, but it's like also not that interesting of a Bigfoot. Oh,
No
come
problem.
on. Anyway. It's dead air. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
No, that's fine.
I'll get back to it.
Okay.
Anyway. This is going to be important later because there's a sketch that's so funny coming up. Anyway, it was a Bigfoot-ass Bigfoot. You've seen a Bigfoot before.
Yeah. Is he slightly Wookiee-esque?
He's got big black eyes. He's a little spooky in that
Whoa.
way.
Okay.
So, like, Jim was like, hey, cops, I've got a Bigfoot on my property. Can I shoot it? And the cops were like, please don't. It could be a dude.
Mm-hmm.
But one night, Jim said, fuck it. And he shot the furry shape as it was running away. He was certain he hit it. He said he heard it hit it, but it didn't seem injured. So he and his buds chased it all the way across the ranch, but stopped at the property line. There, they said they heard a strange sound, quote, a double sound. It was a whine with almost a beeping noise mixed in. Jim's buddies were like, it sounds kind of mechanical. Jim thought it sounded like a primate.
Okay.
And they investigated where he said he shot it, and they found no blood or fur. That could be because Jim missed it, or that could be because spooky.
Ooh. He's impenetrable. You can't hurt him.
You can't hurt him.
Yeah.
Bigfoot has protection from red or whatever guns are.
Yeah.
Bigfoot just has, what do you call it, stone skin.
Yeah. Yeah, like those giants we were talking about.
Yeah.
So Jim says shit sort of calmed down after that. I guess him threatening the Big Feet with violence made the Big Feet stop wanting to mess with him so much. But one night, he and Babs went to go get groceries, and when they came back, they heard that weird, presumably Bigfoot, like mechanical monkey sound coming from two sides of the property, like they were calling back and forth to each other, like there were multiple Big Feet. So
they're
Jim,
sending the message.
Yeah, so jokingly, Jim like yelled out loud, like, "Hey, well, you could at least help with the groceries." And when they went inside, they found the like 2 or 3 boys huddled in the master bedroom, terrified because apparently something had been like continually banging on all sides of the house since the moment they left. So Jim was fucking pissed at the Big Feet. How dare you scare my children? So he runs back outside.
You don't help me with my groceries. You scare my children when I'm gone.
How dare you?
How could you?
So Jim said at this point he threatened the ranch, not like the Big Feet, not like a ghost, but like the ranch itself. And he was like, if we can't have it, then we'll blow it away.
Whoa. He'll blow up the whole ranch?
Yeah, he threatened to blow up the whole ranch to defeat the
That's
ghosts
crazy.
and the Bigfoot and the aliens.
Wow.
So he went inside, he had a coffee, and coffee do what coffee do, and he had to pee afterwards.
Of course.
But their septic tank was out of order, so he had to go pee outside.
Okay.
So while pissing, I can't. If you were to shoot a movie of this, I have no idea how you would do this scene. But while pissing outside, Jim says that he suddenly heard a voice say, "Dr. Jim, we accept."
What?
What?
Yeah.
Why is he a doctor?
Yeah, that's that good catch, Ryan. He's not a doctor. He's a rancher.
Yeah.
Dr. Jim.
Maybe they call him doctor because of, like, they view him as the keeper of cows.
Yeah. Anyway, allegedly, he says it sounded like an FM radio, like loud and clear, but, a little fuzzy on the edges.
Yeah.
And then it came from everywhere, so it wasn't, like, psychic. He said he heard it with his ears.
Whoa.
And at this point, Jim's like, okay, this is not a Scooby-Doo plot. Something fucked up's going on.
Yeah. And they watched me pee.
And they watched him piss. Bigfoot was watching him piss.
I think the way you would shoot that would be that he's like, it's like, okay, so it's a kitchen. He's taking a few sips, and he goes, gotta use the bathroom. So he gets up, and it's a tracking shot of him walking into the hallway. And then he opens the bathroom door, and he's like, oh, right. Septic tank's out. So it's another tracking shot following him down the hall, out the front door.
Oh, I kind of like
And
that
then
idea of like it's like one of those head rig shots like for a paranormal show where it's just it's locked on, it's stabilized, it's locked onto his face. You just see him leave his bathroom, walk through the farm, walk out to a point, and then
like he does his business, and then then the audio plays, and he goes.
Yeah, or he gets jump scared while he's pissing. Anyway,
yeah, that's how you shoot that.
So I said this thing hates cars, and I was so delighted to read this article because this is the closest thing we have to textual evidence of Mothman stealing catalytic converters I found in the real world. So, like I said,
Mothman feeds on the platinum.
Yeah, Barbara
it makes him stronger.
Yeah, he's got to use. It's so rare in the Earth's crust. He's got to steal it from our catalytic converters.
Mm-hmm.
So
How else will he regain his strength?
and to save us from more bridge collapses, and also to fight infrastructure that's not commuter based.
Exactly.
So Barbara owns 2 cars, right? She's got the Cadillac and then the station wagon. One night they went outside and both cars were broken. But this time, instead of the lock, it was the transmission.
Okay.
Apparently, the transmission on both cars was totally shot, and the gears all needed to be replaced.
Like, did they go like? So the whole transmission just
The whole
destroyed?
transmission was shot, and the gears needed to be replaced.
Okay.
It hates cars.
Yeah.
Whatever this thing is, it
I
hates
mean, it
cars.
could just be normal
I
wear and
mean,
tear,
like,
I
that's
think, if the car's neglected.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how much they're driving them. This is the only time the cars really show up in the story. I mean, I guess they need them to get groceries, but...
Yeah.
But I mean, like the whole transmission just done
On 2
that
cars?
Sucks. On 2 cars, that
Same night?
sucks.
Yeah.
At the same time, yeah, that's weird.
That's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
So this next bit, it feels like sort of like an Ari Aster movie to me.
Uh-huh.
So one night, Barbara's like, I feel shit. I feel like shit. It sucks here. I'm going to go to bed early.
Okay.
Okay.
So she didn't want it to be totally black, in the bedroom.
Right.
Because then the spookies can get you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she, paged her curtain back, so, a triangle of the window was revealed, the lower left corner.
Okay.
But it was mostly blacked out. That still let a little bit of the porch light and the outside lights in.
Mm-hmm.
And also it was snowing outside, and you guys see less snow than I do, but when there's snow on the ground, the lights gets kind of nice and soft and cozy. It's pretty bright outside, that just bounces off all the snow and everything stays a little bit lighter.
Yeah, you get that ambient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was like, well,
Bounce light.
yeah, it's kind of pleasant now. I'm going to smoke a cigarette in bed because it's the 70s and try to calm down.
Oh, wonderful. She was like, you know what? Sleep was on the menu, but now a nice cigarette stick under my covers.
Yeah.
That's the way I need to.
I will
to
not
handle
fall
this.
asleep smoking a cigarette. Everything will be fine. I will not catch myself on fire.
Exactly. No bad things will happen. I have my ashtray right here.
So while she was lighting her cigarette, her back was to the window, and she suddenly noticed that everything got darker.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
And she was just like, oh, fuck me. Oh, no. So this is another one of those moments where it's like, I would not look out that window. I want to see
do
what
not
it
turn
is.
around. Yeah. Don't turn around. Just get into bed. Ignore it. Try not to think about it.
But she did turn around, and as her eyes adjusted, she noticed that whatever was blocking the window was a box shape. It was
What?
just 2 or 3 feet from her window. And quote unquote, it had something rounded around its middle, like it was carrying something under its arm.
What?
Yeah. So scared, understandably, I'd say, scared and confused. Babs ran to go get the fam, but by the time they returned, whatever weird square thing holding something under its arm that was blocking her window, it was just 3 feet from her window, was gone.
A square thing holding something under its arm.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just a real chiseled, real in-shape Bigfoot. I don't know if it's a spooky evil robot. I don't know if it's an alien. We got some of those coming. I don't know
What if it's just like a weird square creature?
Yeah. When we do Modrons, we'll cover that, but there's a lot of weird UFO reports where someone's like, dog, a fucking a box just came out of the sky, sat near me,
was the Moon
made a loud
Knights.
sound, flew away. I was washing my car, a little tiny cloud flew down, it had human lips on it, it spit water at me and flew away. Like, there's a bunch of just, weird ass shit.
Yeah.
And then
It
left.
was like one of the Moonanites from
Exactly.
Aqua Teen Duggar Force.
Jumping is useless.
Oh, man.
Stand by for kicking.
Yeah. Alright, so now that it was Bigfoot's turn to fuck up cars and shit and be weird outside a window, it's a UFO's turn. So Ranger David and a couple of his friends this time were visiting the ranch around 2 a.m. When 9 bright discs showed up outside the house.
Oh, great.
Everyone had their faces pressed up against the windows. They were watching the 9 very clear, very distinct UFOs flying around.
Uh-huh.
When Jim was like, well, let's go outside to get a better look. To which Barbara was like,
No.
I think this is a bad idea. And Jim is like, well, maybe this will Zach Baggins it, huh? Maybe we'll really piss it off.
We'll go, whoa, oh my gosh. Did you feel that? Something hit me.
So while they were being like, let's go outside, let's not go outside, something hit Barbara through the window. Like, it went through the window and hit her. Her face was pressed up against the window. She had her knees on her couch, and she basically fell backwards.
Wow.
Oh, man.
So, like, she's like, I didn't see shit. The other people there was like, there was a flash of white light right before she fell down. So, like, Babs was out, but the next thing she remembers was Jim shining a flashlight on her, trying to find out if she had a concussion or not. And by the time everyone looked at the windows again, the discs were gone.
Again,
David,
aiming for the one person that couldn't hold a gun.
Yeah, again, like, the wives really just get it for no reason in these stories. Alright, so we approach now my favorite sub-story of this whole fucking thing. Okay, so Jim got to talking to the local officer who related a story about, like, yeah, bud, I've seen UFOs too. What do you want me to do about it? One day I was driving outside of your property, and I saw a black box with blinking lights, like, hiding in the trees. Not very well, but just like a refrigerator-sized UFO that was black and covered in blinking lights, just hiding in the trees.
Oh. Great.
And so, again, everybody acts pretty reasonably in the story. He was like, I don't want to fuck with that. I don't know what that is. I'm going to go get backup.
It's just like, let's call HQ.
Yeah. So, like, by the time by the time the cop returned with backup, the UFO was missing. But weirdly, so were the trees it was hiding in. Just a whole copse of trees were disappeared.
Just taken with it.
I guess so.
Trees.
And it wouldn't be long before the family saw the black box themselves.
Uh-oh.
So there was a burn spot on the top of the hill near where the cistern was, and apparently grass never grew in this burn spot.
Mm-hmm.
So one night, like, on a goof, Jim and his son Joe just, like, parked the car on the spot to go UFO watch, because, like, again, it was on top of a hill.
It's a normal thing for them now. They're like, might as well just take in the sights when they show up.
Yeah. So eventually a dim car headlight-ass light shone on them from the trees, and they got out of their cars and followed the light to its source and found that there was a black box on the ground.
Of course.
The box had a light in it, but not on it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, it was glowing internally, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a source of light within, but not outside.
It was also buzzing.
Okay.
So Jim was like, Joe, don't get any closer. I'm going to go check it out, which feels like a very jackass, like, not the insult, but, like, you know, Steve-O kind of jackass thing to do.
Yeah.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. So once he got
I'm
within...
going to go touch it.
Once he got within 4 feet of it, the buzzing became, like, it changed from, like, a static buzzing to, like, it sounded like an angry swarm of bees.
Oh.
So Jim was like, I still want to fuck with this, but I don't want my kid to get hurt. So he took Joe back to the car, he locked Joe in the car, and he was like, Joe, whatever happens, don't come looking for me.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Here, you get the keys to the car. If I don't come back in 15 minutes, please drive away.
Tell your mom a refrigerator killed me.
Tell your mom I found that weird box that was staring at her through the window.
Yeah. So he went back to the box, and the box shape was missing.
Oh, great.
And at this point, something so goofy-ass, so kooky happened that Barbara asked Jim to leave it out of the story, but he did not.
Wonderful.
No.
Okay.
So Jim saw a bright light nearby and had to, like, he wanted to walk towards it, but he couldn't force his feet to move there. Like, with all his willpower, he could only sort of drag his feet towards it.
Uh-huh.
He claims that waiting in the light were two tall, white, Nordic-looking aliens.
Oh.
Hey.
It's our friends.
It's the Nords.
Yep, it's the Elizabeth Clarer. It's what was his name? Akon.
It's Akon.
Yeah, it's Akon, yeah.
What was his friend's name?
I can't remember.
It's the Sex Master.
Sex Master. So, Akon here told Jim that it was nice of him to come and apologized for any inconveniences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He also said he'd find a way to make living on the ranch much more equitable.
Okay.
Didn't expect the tall whites to be into DEI, but here we are.
And here we are, yeah.
Good on him. So, Jim said that he realized he should feel the situation should be much weirder, but he just, like, it didn't feel weird in the moment. Yeah. So he, like, talked to them, and upon reflection, he's like, I didn't actually manage to ask them much. He did get mad at them for breaking his cars multiple times, which the aliens denied they did.
It was us.
Like, that wasn't us. Sorry, bro. That's just don't know what to say about that one, but we did not destroy your cars. Have you checked with Mothman?
Have you checked with Bigfoot? Speaking of, the aliens also were like, hey, by the way, bud, you did the right thing not getting close to that box. It was a good thing you backed away from it when you did.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And Jim was like, what do you mean? And the Nordics then nodded to a Bigfoot who happened to be just 20 to 30 feet away.
Oh.
So the box was back where it had been.
Okay.
And the Bigfoot walked towards the box. And again, once the Bigfoot got close, the box changed its tone. And then the Bigfoot just fucking dropped dead.
Oh,
wait,
great.
so that happened right there?
They just told him.
Yeah.
They just told the Bigfoot to, hey, show him what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Chewbacca, now.
Yeah, go. Show him what happens. Show the be the example. He's like, yeah.
Minecraft oofnet.wav. I know. I saw the H bomber guy. It's actually not from my Roblox, but
yeah.
Anyway, so the once the Bigfoot fucking dropped dead, the aliens turned to Jim and they're like, as you can see, they are quite lethal.
To which Jim said, why did you have to kill the Bigfoot to do that?
Yeah. So that Jim then said he got the feeling like it was time to go, which, like, yeah, same.
Yeah.
So he did the Midwest whelp. It was like,
well, time to go hit the old dusty trail. Nice talking to you, fellas.
So he left, and he says, like, basically the moment the aliens left and he was gone, he's like, I was being brain-fuddled that whole time. Wait a second, that was weird and fucked up. They made me feel like everything was cool and normal.
Yeah. I just watched a Bigfoot die to a box.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to take that as normal?
Oh, man, it's so weird.
But Jim says that, like, afterwards, there's a lot less banging, less paralysis, less cattle mutilations, less poltergeisty stuff. Like, I guess the aliens really did try to make it, like, less spooky for him.
They made amends, you know? See,
Yeah.
that's what everyone's missing out on these scary ranches. Just wait until the moment you meet, like, a higher authority alien, and then he'll middle management the rest of the aliens that are on your ranch.
So, at this point, Jim is still sleeping on the couch for reasons I don't know if stuff is chill. But he looked
his
at
wife was like, you know what, if you're gonna do all this alien stuff,
Yeah, I don't want to be
ready.
weird, but there's a part in here I skipped over where it's a boring paralysis story where like Jim's hanging out on the couch and his wife and the other guy are in the bedroom, and I'm like,
What?
is this a throuple? What's going on here?
You mean John?
Yeah. Sorry, it's Jim, John, and Joe, so it's a little hard to keep straight.
Okay, so wait.
J-team.
So, whenever you said Jim, was that John?
No.
The husband? Or
No.
actual Jim?
That's actual Jim. John doesn't show up much in the
banker.
story. Yeah, John's the
Okay, so-
but John is the silent partner. He doesn't live on the ranch, but he visits often.
Oh, okay, but
Jim is the dad who lives on the ranch, but John,
Right.
in one of the
Sorry,
stories, was
yeah.
in the bedroom with Barbara.
John was the banker, right?
Yeah.
The realtor that sold them the ranch.
John's just a buddy who's helping them invest.
I
I don't know
okay.
the realtor's name, and Joe is the son. I tried to give the characters up top because
No,
it's so confusing.
I remember. I was trying to keep him straight, but then I
Yeah.
got flipped over for a bit. Okay, why is he with the wife? Why is
I don't know.
he hanging out with Jim's wife, with Barbara?
He's really only here for the paralysis story, which is why he hasn't showed up much. Anyway, Jim.
I see. Okay.
Jim's chilling, and then one night he wakes up, and he sees the silhouette of a spooky man in tight-fitting apparel staring at him.
Ooh.
So he's like, that's scary. So he gets up, he braces a chair against the door, and he's like, hey, Barbara, there's a spooky man outside.
Uh-huh.
So Barbara is so spooked by this, she starts to have heart problems and breathing problems, which to me sounds like a panic attack. I'm not a
Yeah.
Yeah,
doctor.
that's a panic attack.
And then while they're both trying to calm each other down, they hear a huge banging sound. And so, like, when they go back into the front room, they see that something has, like, shoved open the door and the chair is on the other side of the room. Like, something has kicked open the door. Something has done Saudi Arabian jinn hunting techniques on their house.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's kind of spooky.
Yes. So Jim's like, hey, Barbara, it's probably just the wind. It's probably not the spooky guy I saw outside. And then he psychically heard, we don't need to open your door to come into your home.
Okay.
So
Wow.
he's like, Barbara, did you hear that shit? She's like, no, I am even scarier now.
Yeah. What did they say? They said that they don't need to use our doors to get in here.
Cool.
Yeah, very concerning.
And then, starting at the front door and then floating from one end of the house to another, they heard another buzzing sound. But this time, unlike the humming, it was more like the box buzzing. It sounded like bees. And like I said, it just floated from one side of the house to the other, invisibly.
Wow.
Stay clear of the bees.
Switching back to Bigfoot. Jim saw Bigfoot just hanging outside one night. So he grabbed
Are
Barbara.
you the same one who died to the box?
I hope not. Barbara couldn't see it, so she did that squinty thing where you cover your hands with your eyes, and the Bigfoot like did it back to mock her.
Oh, wow.
He's like, whoa, what are you...
That's the whole.
Bigfoot's
That's
just
the,
like, ooh, ooh. He's like, I'm just sitting here. God, leave me alone.
all right. Let's see how are we doing on time. Okay, good. We have time for the last two big spooks.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So here's a quickie. Charlie, Barbara, and Harry were going into town just after daybreak, and they saw a giant birthday cone, like ice cream cone, birthday hat shaped UFO.
So like a colander? What they
Okay.
call
A
them?
cone.
A cone.
A big yellow glowing cone.
A big
Yeah.
yellow glowing cone.
Which, by Jim's estimation, which he didn't see it, so I'm not sure where he's getting this, but he said that, like, from their descriptions, it was hundreds of feet across, at least. It was 6 times the size of the farmhouse, just half a mile away.
Okay. Wow.
Big UFO.
That's
Okay.
big.
Okay. I'd like to think it was just a birthday hat floating in the wind.
Floating in the wind.
It was just in a perfect position where, perception-wise, it looked like it was huge.
I mean, like, that seems ridiculous, but, like, then again, we have people presenting Batman balloons just floating at the perfect angle that they think they're hypersonic UFOs to Congress, so, like...
Yeah.
The Batman balloon one always cracks me up because it's the one where the blow thing is, like, right where Batman's dongus is.
Yeah.
And there's somebody presenting that to Congress. Ugh.
Sir, I present to you the Batman Dongus balloon.
Oh, you mean the hypersonic UFO? Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Very threatening to human airspace.
Yep. Batman. So eventually Jim discovered a way to, like, sort of lure the Bigfoots out so he could show off to people, being like, yeah, there are Bigfoots at my house. You want to come see?
Yeah.
So he's
Yes.
he'd take a bunch of wires outside and fake like he was setting something up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, connect a bunch of wires, tie them together, be like, big project.
Uh-huh.
And then he'd go inside. And then the Bigfoots would come out of the woods, just fuck up whatever he was doing.
These little fucking pranksters.
Yeah.
Damn punks.
They hate cars, they hate wires, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, look, old man Jim's making something. When he gets his fucking lemonade, let's go
Not
kick
today,
over those wires. Yeah. Fuck your wires, man.
So one time Jim had some friends coming into town, and they weren't buying it, so Jim decided to go Zach Baggins on the big feet and stuff, and just, like, really stir some shit up.
Oh, great.
So in an interesting twist, he had discovered that Silver in particular really pissed off the things on the ranch. So, like, werewolf-y vampire stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Often common in witch stories, predated werewolf stories.
Yeah.
Interesting note. So he took some Indian silver bracelets. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Uh-huh.
And then he like
silver found in India.
in India or like Native American crafted silver. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So he grabbed the 2 bracelets and he stuck them. He buried them in the ground, and he had a bunch of wire connecting them.
Okay.
And then he returned. By the time he got home, he found everybody playing Risk.
Oh, wonderful.
And whatever this was, like, apparently made the Bigfoots really pissed off because they couldn't fuck with it because of the silver, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So they heard lots of sounds and stuff, and then at about 2 a.m. that night, the lights went out, but the stereo and the TV crackled to life, and a voice poured out of it saying, "Attention, we have allowed you to remain. We have interfered with your lives very little. Do not cause us to take action which you will regret. Your friends will be instructed to remain silent concerning us."
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So Jim's Texan friend was an electrical engineer by trade, and he was not spooked. He was stoked.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah.
So he
Hell
went,
yeah.
he dissected all the electronics, and he says that he could not find a rational cause for how these did that or how they worked when the power to everything else went out.
Yeah.
He was super jazzed, I bet. After checking that out, he was all like, bro, I don't know how they did that.
Good
but-
prank.
Oh, that's awesome. He's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, I mean, there's no electricity going into the house. Nothing. There's no way a signal gets out this far.
Yeah. Okay, so this is, like I said, these stories, we're now on the tail end here. These stories just always kind of end, but apparently, like, this was the breaking point for Jim, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So Jim was lying on the couch one day, and he had a paralysis fit. I've mostly skipped over the sleep paralysis stories so far, or the paralysis stories so far, because they just sound like sleep paralysis to me.
Yeah.
Because they always involve having Joe in the bedroom for some
John?
or John in the bedroom for some reason.
Yeah.
Some really weird stuff.
So
But he was conveniently paralyzed.
So as Jim was on the couch having his sleep paralysis fit, he was doing that thing where, I don't know, have you guys had sleep paralysis before?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you're just like,
You do that thing where you're trying to call for help, but your vocal cords don't work, so you're just going like, you're forcing air through your lung,
yeah.
hoping someone will shake you awake.
Yeah.
So he's doing that, and he like sort of rolls a little bit, and he notices that outside of the window, a creature was approaching him.
Oh, no.
It was approximately 7 feet tall, with skinny arms and legs, extremely skinny. It had an object on its chest. I could see the shaping of it very clearly, like a box, but it wasn't flat. It was pointed. It had 3 hoses on each side. This creature had a thing over its head, like a space helmet with a plastic covering. It wasn't at all terrifying. It was more or less pathetic in appearance, almost helplessly pathetic.
Oh.
And describe this. This is what he just described.
Oh, right. That thing.
Oh, yeah, you shared this with
Oh,
us
shit,
earlier.
I did.
Yeah. I thought it sounded familiar.
It's a
was,
gray alien that it's like that horse drawing to me, where it's
Yeah.
like the first one is a masterpiece and it gets lazier as it goes down,
Yeah.
He's got little sticks for arms. Little broomsticks.
and legs and
Like,
stuff like that, and no
Yeah,
hands.
the joints
Weirdly,
are really strange.
No hands, weirdly enough.
they're sort of
Yeah.
like bendy straw joints.
Yeah.
Like anything that would have like a hand or foot appendage just kind of drifts off into nothingness.
Yeah,
And it has like a weirdly contented smile on its face.
Yeah.
yeah. I love the smile. He just seems happy to be here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm approaching you. Hey, Jim, how have you been?
So he was spooked.
What's really like, I think what's the most weird thing about it is like its box body. Is
Yeah.
because there's like zero detail on the box body. It's just a box.
It's just a rectangle. Yeah.
Yeah, that it's just like this really off-putting, just like surreal, flat texture that he couldn't either comprehend or like be just
Yeah,
like
his description
see well.
doesn't make much sense to me. I think maybe that is what's going on.
Like he said it was a box, but it was pointed. So like
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's weird.
Otherwise, he looks like a very like chill fellow.
Yeah. Here's the Bigfoots. So I can do this again. But like I would rather the Bigfoots are not. I'm not having a smoke sesh with the Bigfoots. I'm not hanging
But
out with the Bigfoots.
but this tall ganglion, yeah.
Ganglion's the perfect name for him.
Like I.
For those listening at home, I've just posted the Bigfoot in the group chat, and in addition to the big black eyes, he's kind of in a group hug pose.
Yeah,
yeah, he's got arms out.
It's borderline
Like
T-posing.
He is T-posing. Oh my god, you're right.
I think the similarities between the drawings is that these kind of like, apart from the Bigfoot's one hand, like the artist either A, didn't know how to draw feet and hands, or B, just got lazy near the end. But like, it seems to be a running thing with this artist's like interpretations. Like,
yeah,
the hands and feet just disappear.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not sure if that's because it's a bad photocopy or what, but yeah, or bad printing.
Because
you can kind of see some knuckles or something on the alien's right hand, and the Bigfoot has a right hand, but his like feet are faded and you can't see his left hand. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's just like, yeah, like the Bigfoot is, he's hairy, but like he doesn't have a big, like the usual Bigfoot build.
Yeah.
Which is like
he's kind of slim,
huge.
but not spooky slim.
Yeah.
He's just like
he's like a fit slim, like
yeah. Well, he doesn't even really have much of a Dorito, chest to hip. Like he's just sort of like he's he's also a rectangle actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just mostly like hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got big eyes, dude. Big black eyes. Yeah.
But he's like John said, like definitely not a guy you'd have a smoke sesh with.
No.
Yeah.
But he definitely looks like the type to like kick over some wires.
Oh yeah, he'll steal your catalytic converter for sure.
Yeah. He'll fuck up your transmission.
Yeah. So like, again, I apologize. As in all spooky ranch stories, all UFO flap stories, all poltergeist stories, there's no good button to end this on. No final big spook that scared them out of the ranch. Jim just says everything got worse. There are a couple of other stories of like friends feeling like they were being mind controlled, more mutilations, but like financially and emotionally it just got too hard.
Weird.
The cattle mutilations were apparently the thing that really did it, because again, each one of those was expensive.
Yeah.
So like the high pressure, low tier poltergeist activity after that was enough to just drive them out, and they're gone now. Like I said, these are all pseudonyms. Even like what specific place this ranch was, if it was ever real, was not mentioned deliberately in the report. So like, hey, if you're in Colorado in the Rocky Mountains
and you happen to find a ranch,
let us know if you're living on a spooky ranch.
Yeah.
Let us know if you're living here or you found a spooky ranch.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, honestly. Well, that's all I got for you guys. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
thank you.
John. Happy Halloween, Ryan.
Yeah, well, happy Halloween, Julio, John.
Yeah.
While we always come into these saying, ooh, it's time for a spooky story, it always devolves into chuckling about how dumb some things happen. It's like, they are spooky, but sometimes you can't just help but laugh at it.
I've heard some people say like the goblin universe theory, which is that like this shit is intentional, or like trickster phenomenon, which is like this shit is intentionally goofy so that nobody will believe you. Which like I kind of like that, because it is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single one of these episodes we haven't laughed at.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd believe it too, considering all the stories that we get out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, guess what? There's a box that kills you when you get too close. But good thing you didn't do that. Instead, we'll show you via example with Bigfoot. Bigfoot, please walk into the box.
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, we are so glad that you did not walk into that box. Oh.
Anyway, sorry about the pranks, bro. We'll knock it off a little bit.
By the way, we'll tell our subordinates to stop bullying you a little.
It was not Suplex with your car.
We were not responsible for that
one. Skinny helmet guy and the Bigfoot.
Oh, man.
It was Skinny Helmet 3-tube man.
Oh, man.
By the way, he might visit you sometime. If he does, you can ignore him. He just wants to hang out.
I left it out too because it wasn't that interesting. But like for some reason that I can't define, Barbara and Jim were like, so the spooky gray aliens, like the guy who kept seeing me while sleep paralyzed, they were the evil ones, and they were in the cone helmet. the cone UFO. The people in the round UFOs, those were the good ones, and those were the tall whites. And I was like, the tall whites absolutely killed Bigfoot, and we're fucking with you. All this dude did was watch you and your wife while you were sleeping.
Like, what can you... Yeah, how can you determine that one evil as the one... like, it's one of those situations where it's like, oh, just because they interacted with me a little bit more, like, I can see them being, good guys.
I think
like... That's like the most evil thing ever. It's to like fucking lower your defenses with some fucking.
I really want to know the relation
talk.
between the Nordics, and the Greys. The what were they called? Also that weren't the Greys, but were like looked like the Greys.
Zeta Reticulans or because sometimes they're from Zeta Reticula or the Ebens from Mars.
The Ebens.
Yeah. They're like the Greys, but they're evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly like
them. Where the Greys are evil and the Ebens are cool, and they did the exchange. It's all fucking garbage. I can't.
It's all backwards and sideways.
It's
and
like the
shit.
good reptilians, the good ones. They're like on our side.
Yeah. There's the good ones that are on our side, the bad ones who aren't on our side, and the good bad ones that are not on either side.
That's I don't want to count our chickens before we hatch, but that's Spooky Ranch #1 of 3 in the bag.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you,
Ryan. This is fun. I had a lot of fun.
Always fun.
It's always fun to do this. I'm glad I get to do this. I'm so grateful to have 2 friends that are willing to do this with me.
Yeah.
And we'll see y'all next time. Thank you, Jesse Sanders, for making our music.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Listening.
We got stickers now.
Yeah,
apparently.
We got stickers. If you see one, you'll know it came from me.
Yeah.
Go grab them on our merch store.
If
go
you
buy
see
us a
one,
coffee.
that means you're close.
Yeah.
And that means you're too close.
Leave us a 5-star review. We'll read it.
Yeah. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.